teacher talking sports, what does, what do, how we live. And I have a series here on my YouTube channel called Is He a Hall of Famer? Where I take a look at a guy whose career either is close to ending, has ended, and many are on the fence as to whether or not that player belongs in the Hall of Fame. You know, I'm not going to do a surefire guy for this series, but an article on ESPN today helped me to decide to get into this guy's case. So this will be the 40th episode I've done of Is He a Hall of Famer? And it is on left winger Keith Tkachuk. Now, Tkachuk was the 19th overall pick in the 1990 NHL draft by the Winnipeg Jets. Made his NHL debut during the 91-92 season, played with the Jets through 95-96. They became the Phoenix Coyotes, a team he played for through much of the 2000-2001 season until he was traded to the St. Louis Blues. He would spend the rest of his career there, except for an 18-game stint with the Atlanta Thrashers. He played with them at the end of the 2006-07 season, was traded to them, and then traded back to the Blues about 4 months later. His career ended in the 2009-10 season. So it was this article on ESPN because both of his sons, Matthew and Brady, are on the cover of the NHL 26 game, which will be coming out shortly. But we see here Greg Wyshynski, Keith Tkachuk on Matthew, Brady, Olympic gold, and his Hall of Fame snub. So let's scroll to the Hall of Fame snub part as Keith was interviewed. So it says, let's find it. Okay. So he was asked, after playing at Boston University in 1990-91, you embarked on a career that many people believe should be honored by the Hockey Hall of Fame. There have been 48 NHL players to score 500 goals, and you're one of only 4 retired ones not to be inducted yet. What does it mean to you when you see fans, media, hockey people, whomever rally to the cause and say that Keith Tkachuk should be in the Hall of Fame? Tkachuk's response, I mean, there's nothing I can do. I appreciate the support. I really do. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, life goes on. But my kids are my Hall of Fame. I enjoy watching them. I work for the Blues, but I also get to see my kids play and see them grow up. It was an honor to play in the NHL. The game has changed my life. If it happens, I know my mother will be extremely happy. I think she's the one who takes it the hardest. He was asked, does the fact people talk about his 2 sons help his chances for induction? And, Tkachuk answers it certainly doesn't hurt them. But let's take a look at what he did in his career. So we see Tkachuk played in 1,201 career games, totaled 538 goals, 527 assists for 1,065 points, 2,219 penalty minutes as well. If we scroll down, we see there is bold ink. He did lead the league in goals in the first season for the Phoenix Coyotes in 96-97 when he scored 52. That was the second of 2 seasons where back-to-back where he scored at least 50 goals. Other than that, he had just 2 other, well, I shouldn't say just, but 2 other seasons where he totaled at least 40, and then he had another 5 seasons of at least 30. So, definitely was a very good goal scorer throughout his career. I mean, you kind of have to be to total 538 total, but never had a triple-digit point season. 98 was his career high in 95-96. Had just 2 other seasons with over 80 points. You see, known as a bit of a hothead, especially early in his career, had 2 seasons with over 200 penalty minutes the second and third year, and then that 96-97 season. I mean, That's got to be interesting. 228 penalty minutes in a season where you lead the league in goals. I wonder how many people have toppled that. When it comes to Tkachuk, where he lacks in the potential Hall of Fame department is the accolades received in his career. So we see that, no bold ink there. He was never named to the NHL's first All-Star team. Twice was named to the second. I believe he made 5 All-Star teams in his career. And we say only 3 seasons received any Hart Trophy voting, and none were particularly high, just one top 10, 10th, 14th, and 22nd in his career. Now the Winnipeg Jets, Phoenix Coyotes, not a franchise that has necessarily done a lot of damage in the postseason, and we see he played in a bunch of postseason games, 89, 28 goals, 28 assists, 56 points. So wasn't scoring as frequently, about 1 goal every 3 games, not even. Did reach 1 conference finals in that 2000-2001 season with the St. Louis Blues, where they lost in 5 games to, I believe that was the Colorado Avalanche. So, not much in the postseason for Tkachuk. He was on teams that mostly did make the playoffs. 10 hat tricks in his career. We see similarity scores, most similar to Eric Stahl, a bunch of other Hall of Famers as well, whether it's through 20 years, through 18 years, or for his career. So 35th all-time with his 538 goals, and 75th all-time with his 1,065 points. A lot of his damage did come on the power play, 212 career power play goals. The hockey writers wrote this, I believe, back in June, so not that long ago, where the article was on the best players not in the Hockey Hall of Fame. So he mentions how Keith Tkachuk is a prime candidate for induction soon if the aforementioned Russian players are not under serious consideration. I know they had like Gonchar, and saying how Russians really aren't getting elected of late because of them invading Ukraine. I'm not really going to get into that. But scored 538 goals, 35th all-time, along an impressive 2,219 penalty minutes, 41st all-time. Prime of his career was during the NHL's dead puck era, meaning he'd likely have far more impressive statistics if he had played in a different era. I mean, perhaps. The biggest sign that he should be inducted is that all 34 players who scored more goals than him, aside from Ovechkin, Crosby, and Steven Stamkos, have already been inducted, as well as many of the others who have eclipsed 500 goals. Well, that's not necessarily true, because we see here all-time goal leaders. Of course, Patrick Marleau did play a lot more games than Tkachuk, but we see he's in 25th with 566. He wasn't mentioned in that article. And I believe this past year was Marleau's first year eligible. He was not elected. Of course, the all-time leader in games played. So we see Tkachuk there in 35th. The other guys who have over 500 who have not been elected that are eligible to be: Pat Verbeek 522, Peter Bondra 503. So it's definitely a strong case for Keith Tkachuk to be in the Hall of Fame. Yes, his name's getting brought up more because, Brady's awesome too, but particularly Matthew, because he's on such an excellent Florida Panthers team that has won back-to-back Stanley Cups. Tkachuk did lead the league in goals once, but my final verdict: does Keith Tkachuk belong in the Hockey Hall of Fame? I'm going to have to slightly go towards no. And I think he's the first hockey guy I've done, because I think he's the third I've done. I did Mogilny before he did get elected, finally, and I said he should be in. And Nicholas Backstrom, a guy that a lot of people... I've read a lot of articles saying that they don't think he will get in, and I actually said that I think he should get in. So, he'll be an interesting one. So I think Tkachuk's the first one I'm saying no. I think he's the third hockey guy I've done. But let me know in the comments, do you agree or disagree? Should Keith Tkachuk be in the Hockey Hall of Fame? Anyhow, don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend to subscribe. Like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.